Much like the break music, I am also tired of waiting for the second game between EDG and BLG. It's a final game of the split in the spring split, in the regular season at least. We have a bunch of playoffs coming your way very shortly, but it is the 6th day on week 10, and we're about to get into this second game.
And BLG will be taking blue side, and not only that, we also have a substitution. iBoy is actually coming in over Hope. So just to echo what Clement said on the analyst desk, you know, if you want to go late game and you feel that you have to go late game because of all of the engage tools on BLG's comp, you'd rather have iBoy there than Hope.
I mean, anything you can do, I can do better, and that's the song that iBoy is playing right now because he absolutely could do what Hope was doing in that last game. He won lane, that was great. You know,
by
it was
himself,
perfect.
Up and top.
Not that, but all the other things that iBoy can do, you know, the fact that he has that star power in the bottom lane, like he will find those outplays, you know, there's a reason why iBoy is incredibly strong in the bottom lane is because he will go into his team fights and he'll just find miracles in those moments, and we didn't really have that spice to the lineup which allowed them to do anything.
So the thing is that Hope is a very young player. He has very limited experience with EDG. He's only played on the stage, I believe, once or twice before this moment. iBoy is, of course, their primary starting ADC, but the rumor is that iBoy doesn't necessarily listen to Mako, that he's a bit of a rogue cannon, if you will, and it's harder to keep him on his leash than someone like Hope.
That doesn't surprise me from the interviews I've seen with iBoy and just seeing him around the studio. He's just that type of guy, you know? He'll do his own thing. And
it's always the tiny ones you gotta watch out for, Pulse.
Absolutely, can attest to that one. As we get into the second game, though, I'm looking forward to see iBoy also join some of the legends that we have lining this game. AJ, Clearlove, Mako. We actually get to see them clash, and maybe both of these teams back at full power for the second game.
But of course, it's all about these two guys on your screen right now, especially Chieftain. Get used to the name, get used to the face, because I believe he is a star in the making. Since his debut, I've been pretty much enamored with him, and he has only gotten stronger. And again, like Clement was saying, it is so rare that when you grab two new players and you not only retain your ability to have incredible 5v5s, retain your core strengths, but then you also just immediately patch your weaknesses.
It wasn't a case of we'll lose this and then we'll gain, you know, something more in a different area. It's stat allocation and it's just like distribution, but they just got more stat points to spend. It's like, hang on, why this doesn't seem fair? And BLG have just surged up their standings, and right now if they close out this series 2-0, this will be their 5th series win in a row following the introduction of Chieftain and Mole into the lineup, and that will also be them heading into playoffs in an extremely strong place, in 2nd place in the Western Conference.
Yep, like we were saying, iBoy now on the screen, also taking the position. You know how Deft was called an alpaca?
Yeah.
I feel like iBoy looks like a goldfish.
谈谈的回归，其实我很高兴的，因为感觉没有人能像他打野一样两级抓下，就是如果抓到的话就太舒服了。
Yeah, it's that kind of style that you get from iBoy, and I'm starting to see it. Frost, actually, I'm seeing
a very cute goldfish.
Goldfish,
like,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, Deft was a cute alpaca. I'm sorry, KT. I'm really sorry for tonight, but I feel like iBoy's a cute little goldfish.
Yeah, we actually have a bunch of players in the LPL that I know the community compares people to. Have you seen the cat
Animals
and Doinby?
Is a hot topic.
It absolutely is. Yeah, we're about to get into this game very shortly. The crowd is still here, and I feel like it's actually 100% EDG fans. We didn't get the BLG chance in Game 1. As soon as EDG lost the first game, crowd is absolutely silent. So I'm actually just going with the fact that EDG's fan club might have just bought out the venue today.
The Shanghai library, if you will. We'll see if BLG, I've seen a couple of signs poking around, and with AJ having such an incredible performance like game number 1, it'd be a shame not to get some fan participation for game number 2. Like I said, BLG on blue side, EDG back on red again, and I want to see them change up the draft. I want to see them have more late game threat scaling options because it's probably going to go late.
And we expect this other team like EDG as well, the flagship team of the LPL, to find these adaptations, to have the knowledge, the veteranship of the team to make it happen. So let's see if that is actually the case as we head into Champions Select with BLG and EDG into Game 2. Olaf, Alistair, Morgana will be the bans from BLG.
So pretty much the exact same bans in Game number 1, Game number 2 from BLG. Adaptation from EDG. Again, it's multiple top laners, but this time around, it's not the Camille, it's the Ornn. And the other champion that AJ is very famous for is that Camille. That said, it does mean that the Xayah Rakan combo is still there. I expect this to be the priority pick. Question is, does Mako go for the Leona and try to counter out Xayah Rakan? Do they deny the Rakan and pick it themselves with a lesser duo because they don't have access to the Xayah? Or do they just completely ignore both those options, pick up the Braum and the Sejuani and try to stack as much engagement as possible?
3 options. We'll see which one EDG picks. Right now they are eyeing the Sejuani though for Clearlove, and it will be locked in. The pick that he's been so powerful with recently, I won't say recently, but it's just that last game. So Clearlove was very strong in that first game in terms of mechanics and controlling the early game. That will be what he's going to look for in the second game, as EDG also look towards their second pick. And they are hovering the time Kench, and they will indeed lock it in.
I understand why they do it. It makes sense for EDG. Again, it's about the piloting, it's about their macro setup. If you give them time, they're not a team that's very good on reactionary plays. They're actually better when they get to pre-plan their plays, you know, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes in advance. And so a champion like Tahm Kench can be quite beneficial to making very quick multiple rotations, but it's just not working for them to denying this strong combo. I can't believe they gave away Xayah and Rakan again.
And honestly, history is just repeating itself in this Champions League, but this time BLG also managed to net themselves Skarner, which was banned on the second phase from EDG in Game 1. So it seems like BLG are actually just getting all of the pieces and getting more so in the second game than they were in the first. So EDG, wondering what else they have cooking.
It could force the Azir from Scout here. Again, Clement and I, we feel very strongly about Scout's Azir. We don't like to see him play the champion. He does play a lot of it, but usually the LPL answer is that when you see the Skarner, the Azir comes up because you can either push him away with the wall or you can at least separate him from his team.
At least a bit of denial there. Jin was actually picked up here for iBoy into that bottom lane. So again, more of a longer range AD carry in the bottom lane once again. So it does kind of signal that Mako may be going off and wandering around the map. And this time, you would expect that iBoy has played enough with Mako to know that he's going to do that and not get caught when he's in a side lane by himself.
I feel like that moment when you ban Shogath away from your own top laner.
Yeah, maybe. It definitely has been banned here by EDG. BLG also looking towards their next couple bans. Still have mid lane to worry about. On Scout, wonder if they'll take away to Talia. Nope, they're looking towards the top lane. They're actually targeting Ray's carry picks.
Yeah, trying to limit him. I expect that Camille will actually be the next ban from BLG. Ray is a phenomenal Camille player, and because they have priority pick out of draft phase, they can continue to throw bans to the top lane and then pick up the last one.
EDG lock away Shen into the ban prison. We'll take that away from both Road and Amazing J. Take that flex option off the table.
I mean, maybe you leave it open because you still have access to the Vladimir and the Camille if you want to have some carry, and maybe you just make this a throwaway on something on the mid lane. Nope, it is going to be the top lane, so Camille. I expect this to be Gnar then.
I didn't expect so. Just a very simple pick into the top lane that we haven't had.
Ooh,
lock-in from BLG just yet.
Completely blindsided by the Sion.
Yeah, Sion just gets locked in. It's still available and will be put into the top lane here for EDG.
Just completely forgot about Sion as a pick. Normally we see him banned. Actually, we like it here because Scout can flex it into the mid lane. Has not had the same success as other mid lane Sions, but has played it. So the genius of this pick right now is the fact that we don't know if it's going to go to Ray, we don't know if it's going to go to Scout, and it could still leave open the counter pick and last pick availability for EDG.
Oh, man. I got a little bit debated there, hovering over that Darius.
He's a Darius main, and he has played it competitively before, so don't worry, Pulse. Your time will come.
Probably on 8.6, to be honest.
AJ hears you.
Yeah, when Conqueror becomes a thing, I'm sure he'll bring it up because there are many tank top laners to try and destroy and be a predator on that Darius pick. But for now, though, it will be the Rise pick towards Mo in the mid lane, and we do actually get to see what Amazing J's pickup will be right now, as Road will be locking in just a couple seconds.
And right now, we still have a very similar composition from BLG. If they grab something like a Darius, and he did it!
No! It actually happened. The Darius lock-in for BLG, our first one of the LPL. Remember, this is hatch 8.5, so Conqueror, not a thing yet, but Darius, he just great into those tanks.
And the thing is that AJ is a legacy Darius player. He is known for 2 champions. It's Garen and Darius. That's the kind of guy. If you have no idea who AJ is, you see those 2 picks, you know exactly who AJ is.
Well, I think Nautilus fits into the formula there as well. I remember lots of Amazing J Nautilus plays, but oh man, I'm just fixated on this Darius. Here comes the Talia once again for Scout. He gets another star lock-in for himself. EDG will try and play around this one, but they have made slight adaptations in terms of their comp, but largely a very similar thing that we're seeing here.
Yeah, it's a lot about the chase potential. Again, an open map is where EDG want to hit hard, but it means that they can't fumble their mid game again. They need to capitalize on Talia when she's strong and not just let her get her outscaled by the Rise again and try to force front to back. That said, they have denied some of the engage potential from BLG, but that is still road on the recon, and I think that might be the biggest oversight from EDG in this draft.
Plus, Chieftain gets his grubby mitts on Skarner as well into the second game, and he's been so good on this pick, finding those also pickups in the game constantly for the team, looking for those early game invades, challenging over spies as well. Seems like the team is always there to support him on top of that. So team very well versed in rotating around the Skarner pick, but this angry man that you see on your face, Darius, is about to be showing his face in this one.
And it's going to be all about Darius in the top lane. It has to be when you pick such a volatile pick like this that can snowball so hard. It might not be, setting up a tent and ganking it repeatedly, especially because it's into a Scion, but you can expect that Chieftain will be paying special attention, setting up that safety net, making sure that he's around for counter ganks, and keeping AJ safe so he can start snowballing.
I mean, essentially, you just want to be there and lock him in the 1v1, because Scion will not win that 1v1. While he gets the push on a lot of top laners, he's able to just win the war of attrition. Darius just walks up to Scion as he's charging up and pulls him in and say, "You want a war of attrition? I'm just going to kill you."
And one of the big things about Scion is that while he is a mana-based champion, it feels like his spells don't cost mana. He just gets to spam them all the time. Darius also doesn't have to worry about that war of attrition, so can counteract play around the queue, but also can spam himself.
With one game buffer, BLG pull out a very interesting pick into the top lane. EDG, something very similar to the first game, but BLG, it seems like they may have even just gotten more powerful off of this draft from game one, and that was already a spectacular performance from them in that first game. Let's see if little brother will try and make this one a 2-0 sweep over EDG.
So there you go, Pulse. We got some BLG fans. They're just a little bit uncoordinated, bit lopsided.
I think it's because they didn't have the ringleader in the first one. They all looked at each other and was like, oh, no one shouted, so I guess we're not doing our chant today. But yeah, they've organized themselves for our second game. Once again, we are looking at Clearlove on your screen. This is the first series that he's been back in the Spring Split here in 2018. Have not seen him at all this year. It's the first time since 2017.
And again, reminder that while this game has no playoff implications for Edward Gaming, it does for BLG. A win here would mean that they would secure second in their domestic split and get them the quarterfinal bye. But it would also put them on the same side of the bracket as Royal Never Give Up, Team WE, and Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, there's a lot of scary names there, and if you look towards the top side of the bracket, you have Rogue Warriors who've been slumping massively, and it's like, actually, maybe the top side of the bracket doesn't look so bad right now. But we get to see Darius in the top lane feel like a kid on Christmas, because he's going to be picking up Phase Rush as well, and it means that he has such easy access to use the Phase Rush onto Sion. He just walks up, hits all of his abilities, rolls his head across the keyboard, and just continues running at Sion.
That's how I imagine every Darius actually plays the game. They just roll their face along the keyboard. So we take a look at the masteries here.
Yep, he's gone into Phase Rush, actually going for the Mana Flow ban as well, because he will be spamming his abilities.
He wants to spam that, because it's about interrupting the Sion queue. So he needs to make sure that when the Sion is looking for the charge, that he has the mana and he can constantly interrupt to win the trades.
Yeah, apprehend. So it actually is really annoying for Ray, because there's almost no opportunity for him to even use the Decimating Smash in the first place unless he's being pushed in. So it's one of the reasons why this lane actually might be passive, because Ray has to just sit at his tower and just accept his fate.
But then, of course, you're looking at the difference that a Sion in the mid and late game is going to bring versus a Darius. It is much easier to be effective as Sion because he is, one of those low econ tanks, has a lot of utility built into his kit, versus someone like the Darius who needs much more investment to actually be as successful. So we did see that Chieftain started on the top side of the map. I expect that if he's not going to give him a gank, he at least needs to give him some sort of attention, some sort of safety net, so that AJ can play very aggressive and forward.
Yeah, maybe a ward, something tangible, not just moral support from across the board. He really wants to see that Skarner on the top side, because it's actually Clearlove who is pathing from the bottom to the top side currently. He's about to invade into this jungle from EDG. I doubt he's going to look for the dive, but he's getting a lot of vision and strength over to Ray.
They're definitely looking for the dive. Scout is also moving. He has the wave priority and shoved Ryze in, but he was spotted by the ward. AJ should know what's up.
This push out from Ray is
really
good right now.
You cannot do
J.
this.
Yeah, he's got to back away right now. Scout, he's looking for this flick to try and bring Amazing J in. Has to flash away from that one. And Chieftain moving towards the top lane a little too slow. And this Darius has been neutralized.
And BLG might be punished for starting their jungler on the top side of the map. Chieftain was pathing down, he was forced to respond, pull back up to his jungler, but he didn't get control over the Scuttle Crab. The Scuttle hadn't spawned by the time he moved down into his bottom side jungle, and AJ pays the price for it.
It just meant that AJ couldn't push up in lane. He's like, well, I'm completely blind right now. I have no idea where FLICKR is, so I can't push up against Ray. I can't punish him in this matchup. That's opened the CS lead in the top lane, but in the bottom lane, iBoy being aggressed on by Road. He'll jump back towards his team as the Ignite's still ticking. Mako gobbles up the Xayah, but he's not going to win this 1 versus 2. He needs iBoy to come back. Meanwhile, on the top side, Chieftain gets locked down out of FLICKR, and this 3-man collapse will find the Skarner and will find first blood.
Chieftain decides to go aggressive, place down Deep Vision, is punished for it because Clearlove and Scout are still hanging around, but meanwhile, bottom, here we go.
Oh, Road sees it in his eyes, but it's not going to find it this time around, and iBoy actually putting it down towards him. Mako gets the triple stacks, comes over the last auto attack, and finds the kill in the bottom lane. Jin Zhao needs support out from the top lane, but he is low himself, and iBoy is chasing after. With this teleport coming in from Mole, they will look to back away.
What is this madness? Everyone calm down. It's literally 4 minutes into the game. We've had 2 teleports used. Like, no one has flash. What the?
Everyone's playing like a Darius, apart from the Darius, but we actually get to see Chieftain caught out in the enemy jungle. Everybody collapsed.
So, again, the idea was that Chieftain wanted to get the forward vision so we could create a safety net for AJ here, although now AJ has the wave pushing into him. He was caught out. But as I was saying before, AJ may have been punished from the early gank. He doesn't have his flash, so now he needs to be much more conscientious about where he's holding his wave. Can't push forward because he has an easy gank opportunity. But that was supposed to give Jin Zhao and Road the advantage. You know, the fact that they got access into the bot lane first. They didn't have to leash for their jungler. And instead, they just get blasted by Mako and iBoy.
But that's one of the reasons I like to see iBoy come in over Hope, because he will do things like that. Imagine if that was Hope right there. But like, would it wouldn't have trade maybe, but they wouldn't have put the same pressure that iBoy is able to do down there alongside Mako. So another difference we're seeing out from that first game in terms of rosters. And Clearlove, again, he's invading and again looking towards this top lane.
I mean, I don't think that ward's going to stop him. It's not stopping Scout.
This is identical to the first play. This time, though, Amazing J doesn't have his flash, and Clearlove is already behind him.
Oh,
Here comes Mo. He's got his ultimate available, but it will be a 2 versus 3 at best. And level 6 is just being ticked on by Ray. And at level 5 from Amazing J, there's literally nothing he can do. We have to just pray that the tower kills Ray, and another kill to EDG.
My favorite part about that was that the Cyan ultimate was just for flair. Just really
showing I have it and you don't.
Drive it home.
Yep.
Right into the tower.
This is just sad. This is just making me depressed watching this game. Here in the bottom lane, again, another knockup. It's going to be gobbled up again. Mako saving iBoy and continuing to win these trades.
But the thing is what are BLG going to get on the map if EDG are going to throw so many resources at the top lane? And frankly, it's been a Wolf Camp, a Gromp, and that's about it. So Chieftain needs to make this count, but unfortunately only level 5. He's just trying to power farm as quickly as his little Skarner legs can towards that level 6 so he can start making an impact and punishing these very early plays from Clearlove.
Because EDG have not really sacrificed a lot from it. If anything, they've just gotten ahead. Scout's got the 2 early kills in the game. Chieftain is again caught in enemy territory. He has level 6, but he doesn't have a team, and that's probably going to be the most important thing here. Jin Zhao and Road move up, but Mako already has the stacks to get the Devour, and he's going to be flicked back towards EDG once more. Chieftain eventually falls, and Mole is looking to evacuate. The bottom lane does not want to be here anymore, and with the wall cutting them off, it seems like lights out here for the bottom lane of BLG. Jin Zhao is going to pay the iron price.
Seems very reminiscent of game number 1, but this is before BLG made some sort of counterplay. It looks like EDG cleaning up their early game performance, not going to overstay. Maybe not. iBoy's like, nope, pushing forward.
It's iBoy at the end of the day, but EDG with 5 kills in this early game have snowballed so incredibly hard, and we're just 7 minutes into this one. EDG being incredibly proactive. And you've got to look towards the shot callers. Clearlove and Mako, he comes back into the team. He was proactive in the first game. This time, it's been more bloodthirsty.
And also the fact that Scout is now sitting 3-0-1, almost 100% kill participation alongside Ray and Clearlove. So it's been all about the top side of the map, which isn't something we normally say about EDG. It's usually all about their bottom side. So, you know, hats off to EDG. I didn't really like the Tahm Kench pick. I wish that they would have picked something a bit more proactive, but it's paying off in spades here because they don't need to give attention to bot lane. They have the safety of the Kench. They can put all of their resources and get Ray going.
And the problem is now for the Darius in that top lane is Ray. he is going. He's picked up 2 armor items in the form of the tabbies and a graceful shroud.
Damage
and exactly, it's pretty much that. If you're playing a snowball pick in the top lane in any solo lane, if you fall behind in terms of key breakpoints for the tank that you're trying to kill, you will not be able to kill them for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and you're constantly racing against the curve that's already in front of you.
Which means now that AJ is just looking for any sort of access outside the lane. He still wants to skirmish, he still wants to try to find his way back into the game, which would be snowballing via kills, but it's not going to happen in the top lane. As long as he's isolated here, Cyan's just going to be the more worthwhile pick coming into the mid and late game. So he needs to either shove the lane or make some teleport plays. He's got to get out of here.
100%. And then you have to look towards the Darius, and it's like, what does he do? Most likely he'll move towards the Black Cleaver as his first item, as all Darius's will, but then we're expecting more of the tanky items, so maybe he'll join the team and then look to get those 5 auto attacks down and be a monster with the extra damage he gets from Noxian Might, but that's all he can look towards now. It's not about Snowball.
Good news, though, is that Chieftain is finally over level 6. You saw him use the ultimate in that last team fight. I feel like he chose the wrong target. He grabbed Sejuani when he could have grabbed, I don't know, maybe a damage-oriented target like Talia.
Yeah, for sure. Highboy stepping up, but he has Mako right behind him, ready to help out just in case he's aggressed on by Jin Jiao. And EDG are able to challenge his vision in the bottom lane. We're actually seeing Clearlove and Chieftain lock claws in the river right here, but we've got Scout rotating.
Yeah, so we're just trying to control the neutral vision. BLG want control of that highway, so Scout doesn't have free access to use the Talia wall down there. That's usually the signature EDG play. They love to play this type of shell, this type of composition with Talia, and it's always, shove lane forward, get the wall behind the tower and dive.
This is nice from Amazing J. This is what he wanted to happen, a good 5 minutes ago, but this time Ray he simply walks away because he has all of this armor.
Yep, it has his teleport coming back up, so even though this wave is being pressured, although he may not want to use it here, because it would be TP disadvantage as EDG are setting up a bot lane play. They may just try to force the tower versus force a dive.
4 members already here, and Road comes in for the preemptive engage, but he is just locked down to high heaven, and will eventually manage to get out, though. EDG didn't have the damage to finish him off, but he is absolutely out of this fight.
And reminder, both top laners still have their teleports, but no one pulls the trigger. AJ didn't even glance at it. They just decided to give away.
Here's the teleport, though. It's out from Road, though. He has swapped up his summoners. And EDG are actually moving up now towards the dragon area, seeing if anyone from BLG will poke their head in and just get control over this area. Actually seeing a recall out from Clearlove, so it doesn't seem like EDG are going to be picking any objectives off of that play into the bottom lane.
And that was a credit to BLG. Great back management there, making sure that they kind of took it in shifts. Road goes back. He's got the, spears, orbs? What do they call it for the Unsealed Spellbook? Crystals?
Shards?
Shards. I was like, spires, splinters.
You had to see the arm movements from Frost. That really made it for me.
There was little hand movements. I was like, ET
She's turning
over
into
here.
a crab. I was like, what's happening?
He had the shard available, so he had the TP. So just making sure that they're communicating. Okay, Skarner, you gotta sit here. I gotta complete my bag. Then I'm gonna teleport. And it seems small, but if you make those small mistakes against EDG, they will kill you. They will punish you.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The old phrase definitely rings true for EDG and a lot of our old standing teams in the LPL. Amazing J is just equalizing on farm. This is the first time he's actually been ahead in farm in this top lane, and Ray has absolutely done his job. This is what you want to do if you're a Darius. You want to get lane advantage, and as you're pushing the top lane back to his tower, I'm not going to talk about that because Chieftain's moving towards the mid lane looking for the flash and the impale. Mo has locked him down, but there are multiple people turning up to the scene. The heal out from Scout. He's eventually going to go down, but Mo has to overextend for the kill.
Oh, so close for the rest of EDG to show up and carry Scout to safety, but ultimately it is a 1-for-1 trade. Both mid laners fall.
And that's the first kill and the first of anything actually from BLG. So there's no possibility of a perfect game anymore if you're EDG, and Road collapsed on. Clearlove with these leads have been absolutely insane over this series, and Road, well, he runs away with the quickness. Chieftain is all by himself, and Road stepping back may have secured his doom as well, because iBoy is about to open up with the curtain call.
Fancy
misses
footwork.
2, looking for the 3rd. Where's the 4th? Jumps over the wall, misses the 4th, and Road, he's screaming happy feet because he's out alive.
That said, his jungler definitely died for his sins. So while Road does make an impressive individual outplay on his fancy footwork, Chieftain's still looking at him like, bruh, what happened there?
Why was that circumstance even a thing? 0-3 in this game, Chieftain actually showing the scoreline of Mole in the first game.
But this is the big win here. The fact that it pulled Ray from the top lane, so there was no one to hold the creep wave off of the tower, meant that AJ got a lot of time and a lot of work with it. And he may win the race for the for the first brick. So BLG, yeah, do exactly this. Throw everything in the kitchen sink up in the top lane and try to get this broken.
Ray's lower mana as well, and he doesn't have his ultimate. He has flash, but that's pretty much it. If BLG collapse on this guy, he's probably going to die. The tower's already dead, and the apprehend comes through first. Here comes Amazing J with the chase down and the lockout from Mole, chasing down Ray. This phase rush will keep Amazing J in range. Now he's got the ultimate ready to go, and executes Ray on the spot.
And so what this should mean is that EDG will have priority over the bottom tower as well as the dragon, but BLG can move towards the Rift Herald. So there's still a lot of potential for BLG to trade up in terms of standing gold and structures. I think Road and Jin Zhao need to make the correct call here. Just back up the tower, give it away, maybe waste some of EDG's time, but this should be about top tower and Rift Herald.
Our first tower has done a lot to help out BLG here. In fact, it's actually equalized the goal totals, even though EDG are leading in kills by 5 in this game.
They don't know where
really
FLICKR is. And this is the key difference here. Normally, the jungler would already be bottom to force this tower 1-for-1 trade. Hold on.
Engage out from Road, but there's the save from Mako. Spits out his AD carry, and he's about to turn this one around. Sets up the Deadly Flourish, and will find his 4th shot onto Jin Zhao as well. Big crit.
Wow, a very greedy move from EDG means the tower doesn't fall, and BLG now have all of their pieces. We could be looking at a 4v4 very quick.
The jungle contest was there, and
was close.
Yeah, it's a nice flick from Scout to really end the aggressions and the hostilities in the jungle there. And BLG will find their fight today. Yeah, I say that, but I think like someone's about to be collapsed on it. It's Amazing J. He's completed his Black Cleaver, but now he's 1 versus 4. Make that 1 versus 5. There was no getting out of that one. Just
a really tense moment. Again, normally in that type of play, the jungler is just going to stand behind his AD carry and support and force the tower to go down. The fact that EDG bounced Clear Love between mid and bottom means that they're going to break a very early mid tower and not lose control over Rift Herald. So taking a pretty standard play and kind of flipping it on its head.
Yeah, swinging it back actually towards BLG. Any momentum that they may have had off that first tower has been nullified. And EDG have got plenty of vision into the top side of the map as well. They look towards this Herald. Actually, Dragon has also been started off by EDG, so Clear Love still got this control.
But you immediately see the danger ping on the Herald from EDG, so they're very aware what's happening. And like I said, the adaptation not to full Clear Love bottom, but to keep him in the jungle, especially with all of that vision control, so BLG didn't have proper information about where to move their lane assignments, means that they'll get mid tower, they'll take the Dragon, the bot lane will fall over as soon as a stiff breeze hits it, and they don't lose the Herald. Like, what should have been an upgrade for BLG in terms of tempo may now actually just be a huge swing for EDG.
Yeah, a huge downgrade. EDG have done really well in this early game.
He started it.
Yeah, started it, but this is relatively late in terms of the course of the last couple of plays, and Clear Love already on his way to that area. iBoy is going to be the first one to arrive.
They need to burn
He's also with Mako. Abyssal Voyage is probably just going to be used in a couple of seconds, but Amazing J's here. He's scouting. He sees all of EDG moving towards this area. Can he get the Smite Steal to happen? We're walking up. It goes over to Skarner, but BLG are routed. They can't get the buff right now, and Mole is about to pay for their sins. He gets knocked up and killed by iBoy.
Oh no!
Now they have to play Gatekeeper. That's what they need to do now.
Disaster! Still a huge win for EDG, obviously because BLG don't get the buff. But like I said, the fact that EDG denied the Rift Herald completely and they took down the mid lane tower, which means the Herald isn't used to break theirs.
BLG want this, though. They just need to get to the objective. Rose found it. Now everybody get the hell out of here. There's the pull out from Darius. He kind of engages for EDG. And Scout, he's arrived. He's about to murder Jin Zhao. He's dead. Amazingly flashes over the wall, but he's trapped in place with this blast cone. You come to us. EDG say, get over here. And they find their 3rd kill of the fight.
So unfortunate. In fact, the only silver lining for BLG is where their waves are placed. The fact that they're pushing both in the side lanes and the mid lane is also very heavily pushing against them means that EDG just get the team fight kill goal. They don't get to immediately translate into a Baron or into a top tier tower, but that's really about it. This is dire straits for BLG.
Really unfortunate. The objective was clear. Save Private, Rift Herald Eye. But they got him and then all died.
Road is the hero we do not deserve, forces the flash, uses the quickness. He's like, okay, boys, now get the hell out of dodge. But a beautiful Talia wall from Scout. This is why we praise him so highly on the champion. Locks down the choke point, and then EDG just fish in a barrel.
And I'll be honest, it's unfortunate being a Darius here because you say to Darius, disengage, and he says, what's disengage, and hits his apprehend and pulls him towards him. And he's just like, well, I guess I've just engaged for the enemy, we all die. EDG get even more off that play, and now they take the goal lead on top of that as well.
It's just like a kangaroo. He can't go backwards. He can only hop forwards.
Yeah, there's no retreat. It's only forwards.
Do you know how fast a kangaroo can run, Pulse?
This is going to be a crocodile moment again, isn't it? Tell me how much, Russ.
No, it's fine. You got me.
Okay. That's a throwback.
It's an old meme, but it checks out.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we'll be clearing out this vision once more, and BLG just really trying to hold on to any of the vision that they can right now and just try and get any information, but EDG is just running them dry.
The good news is that they still have the option just to kind of sit back on their laurels and continue to scale up. The bad news is that the Darius Sion situation will be needed to be addressed. Although, Bon, you're out of position.
He is indeed. He just had the bot lane here to support, but the tower's about to die, and the teleport already initiated from EDG. Road doesn't find the lockup that he really wants, but he has delayed the inevitable, as finally Road will be gobbled up and then taken out by EDG. Kalilov somehow also managed to survive off the back of that one, and iBoy opens up and pushes BLG away. Ray is still behind the play, though. He wants to keep them here, but the team is absolutely not on the same page. Scout and Kalilov are not here, and Mako comes in and saves the tank.
I feel like Mako is like the babysitter, and he just walked into this room that was on fire, looked at Ray, he's like, what are you doing? Please stop!
Sprints towards the baby, and it's like, come with me. And EDG do manage to disengage. No one dies, and they get their pick.
To be fair to Ray, where was he gonna go?
Not there. He could have walked around back to his team.
The shortest distance is a straight line, Pulse.
You're not wrong. Mako and iBoy. Potential rotation here from BLG. Road doesn't have his ultimate. They're not really looking for it right now. And with 7 seconds left towards the Baron, EDG want to go back, spend all the gold, consolidate their resources, and then head back over, place down the vision.
And they've got a lot of big breaking points, especially for the mid game, and especially on Sion. Usually when the tanks have access to he's got a fully completed armor item in the Frozen Heart, but then he also has his MR and his Ninja Tabi. So Ray is a massive frontline, which means at this point in the game, EDG have so much engage potential between the Talia ultimate and the Sejuani ult, and now they also have the tank stats to back it up. So they are looking for a fight. They are very keen to do so, whereas BLG needs to start splitting up their map. Attempt to use a 1-3-1, use the safety of Xayah, use the mobility of the double, not double teleport, but teleport and realm warp, and try to kind of stall out this game so Rise can start taking over.
Absorb the pressure, because that's kind of what we saw EDG trying to do in that last game. It obviously failed in the end, because they were accelerating so hard, BLG. But EDG do have a sizable gold lead, just around 3,000 gold right now at the 20-minute mark.
Road has used the Rift-Tailed bottom.
He has. Cross map. Someone's going to have to try and address that one. That tower's going to die anyways, but it's about protecting this inner tower now if you're BLG. And Ray is shoving the top lane. Mol's here to meet him, and Darius is in rotation.
Here comes Flank.
This is scary. Lockdown onto Ro, but he comes out of the cleanse and re-engage onto Kalilov. Mako finds the save, and Jin Zhao, he's low. Throws out the ultimate in a random direction because he just wants to get the heck out of dodge. He's lining up the deadly flourish, but doesn't quite find the kill. iBoy chasing after Road, lands the crit.
And they don't have a creep wave, but they do have access to the Baron. I feel like this is still really risky, though. But EDG, they're pinging it.
iBoy's heading over with his team. The team has actually already started it, but Chieftain and Mole are right around the corner. They're in this ramp. They're ready to go. Here comes the wall and locks away Mole, but Chieftain is over the wall, and that's the engage. That's really what EDG were looking for to try and find a kill. The flash after the slowdown, the knockup onto Chieftain, but it's still not great from EDG just yet. And Scout almost assassinated in the backline by Mole. And BLG, they're looking to turn this right now. Amazing J stepping up and Road almost dies. Oh, the snipe from iBoy will finish him off.
Showcasing why he was subbed in for game number 2. iBoy is still the stronger, better, faster ADC. Finds the snipe and pretty much finds any sort of saving grace from that Baron call. I thought it was pretty fishy to begin with, and it definitely didn't pan out.
But it was a kill. It worked out in the end.
Oh, that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. But BLG, that's given them plenty of time now to regroup, head towards the Dragon, an objective they probably shouldn't have been able to get towards in the first place.
So the thought process is that you chunked out Xayah enough that she needs to make the back, that you feel that you're confident enough approaching the Baron and trying to burn it down, or if they try to approach it through a choke point, you just turn and kill them. Problem was, the Talia wall did nothing but lock EDG into lock EDG out of their primary exit path, which would be running towards the top side of the map, and the Skarner and Rise were still full health.
And that's what happens when that is the circumstance. Now, one dragon to one dragon, both going to be mountains. Next dragon to spawn will be the Cloud Dragon. And Amazing J moves to the bottom lane. So we eventually managed to get our 1-3-1 lane assignments as we take a quick look at the gold, and also the Darius Sion interaction as Sion charges up his Q and Amazing J clicks his E button and wins. In terms of gold, though, equal on the top side. The big difference is around the bottom side of the map. You can see Scouts ahead. iBoy is massively ahead of Jin Zhao as well.
Scout is looking for an assist on assassination for AJ.
Tower's about to die.
Doesn't have his wall, it's just coming off the cooldown right now.
It was a zoning flick, and the tower goes down. So EDG, they get their objective. They don't necessarily need to kill Amazing J, though he will be heading back to base here. He's actually looking for the Spirit Vision second.
And it's actually pretty important that they grab their tower there. If you look at EDG's inner bot tower, you can see that Riftchild actually did a significant amount of work there. So by removing both outer structures, now the wave will hopefully stay a bit more neutralized or will bounce back a bit better rather than just stacking towards a very weak structure that they could easily lose to just creeps.
And you see small plays from BLG that are just keeping them in it. You know, this game has not exploded. It's not snowballed in the same way that game 1 has or did for EDG here. We're going to jump back to relative safety as Mako is here. He wants the wards. So Hungry Time Kench, he's out for delicious wards. And Road, as to stare on, as always set up is going to waste. And EDG take away all of this vision from BLG.
Yeah, just trying to prep the waves. They shouldn't be turning onto the Baron, however, they're looking for a pick. So BLG just need to be very patient and very cautious. Although, as I say that, Rhodes literally sprinting alone in front of his team. I feel like Rakan gives support players a very false sense of security because they have the ability to use W and reposition instantly. Just takes one slip up, though.
It does, but Road was playing that Rakan very well in the first game. This is also unfortunate if you just avert your gaze from the bottom lane scoreline. Not a single kill and 5 deaths to their name. Exactly what we were talking in the first game. It's like, hang on, this is different. They haven't died a single time. They have crazy scorelines. What's happening? This is what happens when BLG end up falling behind.
It was close, though. The initial swing where Mako ended up picking up the kill, like that was on a knife's edge, and iBoy made a pretty crazy outplay to make that be the case. So Road and Jin Zhao were technically still holding their own.
And BLG fans, don't worry, we've been in this position many times. We know the darkness of being behind, and we know how to catch up. Hopefully, Scout taking this boot before way. However, and EDG are playing this extremely methodically, taking away every small advantage they can from BLG, not giving them any in. Playing this as watertight as they can. Jin Zhao in the bottom side will get himself the red buff. They should be able to clear out this mini wave unless EDG make a play here. There's the wall. Will zone away most of the team. Ro's going to stay over here because he can jump back to the Xayah. Flick is going to find Amazing J. Now he's on the wrong side of the wall and the tower's about to die. He explodes from the damage from Clearlove. The engage comes out from Road, but they do not want any piece of this pie.
Beautifully executed. The creep wave is coming in right behind them, so EDG can just sit tight, be very patient, and continue to siege on this tower or look for the dive.
That's exactly what Ray is looking for, right into the middle of everyone. Massive flick from Scout, gets the insta-kill on the Rakan. Chieftain close to follow, the kill from iBoy, the execution. And Mole, the only member remaining now from BLG to make a difference.
Disaster for BLG because, again, they died just as the creep wave was crashing onto the tower, and a lot of it survived because EDG were tanking up a lot of the tower shots that would have thinned the minion wave. It means that there's enough creeps left over that they're able to push through the inhib tower and claim mid.
Clearlove moving towards the Baron. Here's the Abyssal Voyage as well from Mako, and EDG should be able to find themselves this unless Amazing J makes an amazing play. Will it happen? He sees all of EDG, 1 versus 5.
Oh no.
He sees the highlight reel in front of him. Can he make it happen? Misses the apprehend. Unfortunate. Moves forwards. Here's the team. Rogue gets the engage, but he is super dead. And Amazing J, now he's montage material. He'll flash away. He gets locked down. And Mole, I'll give you moral support. That's the best I can do, and now I'm going back to base. EDG get 2 kills and the Baron.
That is now 2 towers, an inhib, and the Baron, and all of that gold to spend. EDG were winning fights from, back or by disadvantages, now have massive buy advantages and the Baron behind them. Close to a 10k gold lead for themselves.
That swung crazily large in the last couple minutes because we were just saying, like, EDG only about 3,000-4,000 gold ahead. It's not, cataclysmic right now, and now they're almost 10,000 gold ahead. So EDG off of that play took so much, and they've already cracked the base. It seems like any of the big hurdles you would look out from here for a team who's ahead already being jumped over.
And you can feel like the EDG have read BLG and now understand what the win condition is for this series. Hey, BLG are going to take us towards these late game 5v5 team fights. Let's get our late game 5v5 team fighting ADC back into the game, and suddenly 7-0 and 8 on this Jhin. Massive advantage over Jin Zhao and just blowing up these team fights.
And see how strong EDG look with this one. 20 kills to 2. This has been a massacre. Everyone's crowding into the bush. If anyone steps up, they are going to die. Tower, all done.
Scout in position, looking for the ultimate to clean cut away the tower, so they can have a free siege.
Recall comes out from Chieftain as well, and this bottom lane is just going to get destroyed so quickly. And Clear Love with the instant engage, finding the flick onto Mo as well. He flashes back towards his team, and we just saw Rhodes suicide into the back line. Darius is trying to go ham, but he just doesn't have the team here, doesn't have the length of a team fight to be useful. And EDG, they lock it down, they say, nice pick, bro. We're just going to destroy it at every phase of the game. And EDG, with those 3 kills, are looking to finish this one off.
And it wouldn't be the last series in the LPL without Clear Love's return, without playoff implications, and without going to all 9 games, because we're going to game 3.
We're going right down to the wire as EDG take down the Nexus, and we go 1-1.
Much cleaner performance this time around from EDG. Like I said, I had my doubts about the Tahm Kench. I wish that they would have gotten more of a playmaking champion for Mako as opposed to a defensive one, but it made sense in the execution. They weren't going to give their attention to the bottom lane. It was all about countering out the Darius pick from AJ, throwing multiple ganks up towards the top side, and allowing Kench to just babysit Jhin until EDG were strong enough, had a gold lead, and came and picked up the kids.
Honestly, it was just perfect. EDG did exactly what they needed to do to shut down a pick like Darius. And honestly, I don't think BLG necessarily played around the pick correctly. Chieftain started in the top side, moved towards the bottom. Amazing J was just sat on top lane island, stranded by himself.
But we see this all the time from AJ. He is actually very arrogant and very greedy. You look back towards his gangplank, you know, he doesn't run Grasp with the Undying on GP. He runs purely the Klepto despite matchup, and he starts with a Sapphire Crystal for an early back for a Sheen. You see this all the time where he will, you know, just outplay his the enemy team and greed for these advantages that he really shouldn't get. So it could have been his call, you know, it's fine. Allow Xayah and Rakan early access into the bot lane so they don't have to leash for you. Start topside. I'm okay. Like, what are they gonna do? Dive me at level 3?
Yes, and then we'll do it again and completely shut out the Darius out of the game, unfortunately. And it was kind of a cocky move in the end, and it was punished here from EDG. You cannot just disrespect a team like EDG like that. And that'll be them finding the second win and actually moving us to a game 3. So EDG, they're showing what they're made of.
And it feels like the answer was to ban away the Ornn, so we'll see if AJ has anything left in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, well, he has a Darius. I wonder what else is in there. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk.
Look, the only thing that better be in that wheelhouse is going to be an Ornn, because that Darius was horrible coming out from Mace J, as well as Chief, the BLG in general. As much as it looked like EDG were getting pick after pick and they were starting to look like they were snowballing, halfway through the match, EDG were only 1,000 gold ahead of BLG, and a turret actually equalized the gold lead. They just kept getting picked after pick. They were in such messy positions, awkward positions, time and time again.
You have to call them out. 5 people dying around Rift Herald and finally picking that up. Like, that was some pretty atrocious, to be honest, right there. Like, kills and kills going over to them. They just didn't feel like they were in the mood to really play. And we have to talk about the Darius pick, all right? The first thing the Darius pick is that, okay, cool. I think the situation for the Darius is called for. There's a double tank coming from the enemy jungle and the enemy top laner. It's going to take them a really long time to actually kill AJ in the top lane, and he can get his regen off. He can heal multiple times so that, yes, I think the Darius is actually an okay pick. It's not 8.6. He doesn't have Conqueror, but it's an okay pick. The problem is you do need to play around the pick for it to be successful. This is a pick where you don't win lane, you don't do anything.
And I have to say, if they're not playing around that Darius pick, which they were not, and EDG were able to play around the pick quite nicely, Sion conceded the lane to start, pushed back in with a heavy wave and made sure that EDG were up there to gank. And after a couple of times, he had enough items to go toe-to-toe against Mace Jace Darius. But what were BLG playing around? They weren't playing around bottom lane. They weren't playing around Mole in the mid lane. Chieftain was wandering around Clear Love's jungle, getting caught in between 2 camps for I don't know why. What were BLG playing around in that match?
I don't know, man. Chieftain dying 3 times early on, in really odd positions without the backup of his teams. Like, this game felt really weird, and it's really hard to analyze because I feel like BLG kind of threw the game 50 minutes in. The jungle was already dead 3 times. There was no backup.
And we can say that. We can say that they, at 50 minutes in the match, EDG were able to capitalize on the mistakes made by BLG enough to punish them. But were they really? Because until that Rift Herald fight, again, they were almost even in gold. They were about 1,000, 2,000 gold behind. They had fights in the top lane, which looked really poorly executed. EDG were pushing for dives underneath the turret when there were multiple full health members of BLG there ready to defend it. And the execution of BLG just looked poor. EDG, they were a little bit messy, a little bit sloppy, but they were able to punish these mistakes a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. We could see EDG having much stronger focus into the bot lane. The Jhin is a good matchup into the Xayah, and I expect to see that play out again and again. They are putting all of their marbles into the bot lane. However, it's really interesting that you noted the early deficit, the small amount of gold that they actually had in the lead over BLG. And the reason is because that Ray actually used 2 teleports from the top lane unnecessarily, didn't get any assists off of it, and that actually gave AJ a way back into the game. They took first brick in that game and were actually very close into the gold lead right there. So that's one point EDG needs to take aware of, but BLG overall, man, just shape up. If you want to play around the top, go all in.
Yeah, if they want to pick Darius, actually play a strategy to remote focuses around it. And in fact, even if they're not going to focus on Darius, have some sort of play coming in the match. It just looked like BLG were all out of sorts of game number 2. 9-day performances between games 1 and 2. Not only was Amazing able to catch up in CS though, allowing the gold to creep back up, but Chieftain was ahead in CS in the jungle. It didn't matter too much because ClearLove had multiple assists. He was in most of the ganks and kill participations, but he also picked up MVP for game number 2.
He had a stellar early game, actually picking up 15 assists for his team early on, and he was just all over the place. The first early top lane dive, and then the second one again, and then going bot lane, reading Chieftain like a book, catching him out in his own jungle.
I mean, we can talk about it over and over again, because I'm happy to sit here and roast BLG for their performance in game number 2. But let's talk about ClearLove for a little bit, because this is his first series back on EDG. First game was with Hope. It didn't look too good where he was able to make a play that actually allowed BLG to get back into the match and actually secure the victory there. However, he was making nice mechanical plays. He was working well with Mako as well, who's had 2 games at a time catch. What do you think of his performance so far back on EDG?
I think it's pretty good. I think the big thing you notice is that there's a lot more pressure being levied onto the enemy jungle. The enemy jungle can't get away with a lot of the things they can get away with on Haru. Every time Chieftain walked into the jungle, he was immediately punished by ClearLove. ClearLove has that experience where he knows where you are, and he can instantly call his teammates and coordinate those traps to really keep you dead inside of his own jungle.
And he's looking good so far, so he still has one more match to play, and the question will then be, will he play in playoffs as well?
Yeah.
Well, we saw 2 AD carries played already. Hope played game number 1, iBoy stepped in game number 2, and this is the roster that most people speculate to be the playoff roster for EDG, with iBoy as well as ClearLove in the roster. And again, looking much better and bringing in the AD carry that they played with for majority of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I've said this again, and I'm going to say, I've already said this, but I think there's nothing that Hope can do that iBoy can't. iBoy is the mechanically superior carry over here, and I do think this is the roster that they're going to finally lock themselves in.
So the only other thing I have to ask then is when we talk about Hope playing, often we say that Hope is the player that they can leave to his own devices and allows and unlocks Mako, which we thought might be a good thing with ClearLove playing. Is that still the case with iBoy? Can they still allow iBoy to play on his own? Because normally when that happens, they pick him off time and time again. He makes these awkward mistakes. Does he still have to adapt to what Hope can bring to the team?
It's almost like an Uzi style where you have to have enough stature on your support to really tell him what to do. And I think iBoy, sometimes he has a mind of his own. He won't always listen to Mako. That's kind of the discussion between those two. So Hope, I feel like, is kind of the stress test just to get Mako used to playing around with ClearLove. And when that's already set up, they can bring iBoy back into the fold.
Well, let's check back in later on to see what the roster for game number 3 is going to be. And that's going to be the final match that we have in the regular split, a spring split for 2018. Let's go to a quick break. Back with game number 3 in just a bit.